This is Aging by the Bay, here to provide families in the San Francisco Bay Area pertinent information about healthy aging practices and services. Your host is Ajay Sani of ComForCare Home Care.
Good morning and welcome everyone to Aging by the Bay, where we provide families in the San Francisco Bay Area relevant information about healthy aging practices and services. I'm your host Ajay Sani from ComForCare Home Care. With ComForCare, you can give your loved one the best life possible, thanks to complete in-home care for every stage of life. Find out more at ComForCare.com or call us at 1-800-886-4044. At Aging by the Bay, we talk about joys and some of the challenges of growing older in the Bay Area. We talk to experts about what they see happening as people age, as well as the services that are available that you or your loved ones may not be aware of. First of all, I want to thank our sponsor, A Love for Seniors, who specializes in helping seniors find residential care homes, assisted living facilities, and memory care assistance. You can contact them directly at 1-800-850-9102. Their website is www.aloveforseniors.com. And again, their number is 1-800-850-9102. Today, I'm really excited to introduce my guest. His name is Wesley Whittemore, and he is new to the Bay Area, but not new to senior living. He has been in the senior care industry for 12 years, working in hospice, home health, independent living, assisted living, and memory care. He has worked all over the state of California, guiding teams to success. He enjoys assembling high-quality teams and put residents first. He finds great satisfaction in providing solutions to families in search of assisted living and memory care. Moving into a senior living community can be scary for all parties, but he enjoys taking the fear out of it. Welcome, Wes. How are you doing today?
Hi, AJ. I am great. I am very happy to be here this morning.
Excellent. And you know that you've been working with seniors for such a long time. So let me start with one topic that can be very important and dear, and that is residence. The reason I say that home is important to all of us because that is the place where we feel it's our zone, and we usually are very, very comfortable in our own home. However, when it comes to seniors, changes take place. It could be downsizing or moving into a senior community. So what do you think are the trigger points, and what are some of the challenges you see when people move out from their home that they may have been living for a long time into another place?
You know, AJ, what we see in our industry and specifically in assisted living is families we talk to and folks we talk to, they don't want to give up their independence at home. And they've oftentimes been living in a home for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And they feel, it's a perception that they feel by moving into a community, they're giving up so much. And the truth is, you know, once we're able to really build value with them and share with them all that they'll be gaining, they'll love it. The truth is that they're not giving up independence at all. They're gaining so much more. And I'll tell you just a little something. Just a few weeks ago, I was meeting with a family, and these folks are going to be moving into assisted living, and I was there visiting with them at their home, and you know they had about a 4,000 square foot home, and they were in their 90s, and they loved their home, and it was beautiful. They lived there for about 30 years.
Yeah.
However, they weren't utilizing the house, and they were only sticking to the ground floor and just walking back and forth from the living room and the kitchen to the bathroom. And, you know, I made the comment to them, and I said, you know, are you really still happy here? And are you using this home for all that it was built for? And once we had that conversation, they realized, wow, we're not. And I think we're going to enjoy life a lot better in assisted living. So to answer your question, I think that is a scary piece to give up so much. You've given up driving, or you've given up, all, work. But you get so much more when you move into a community.
Excellent. So you mentioned assisted living, right? And there is like, independent living. There are different types of communities out there, right? So
that's right.
How do you differentiate and sort of guide people?
Right. So, we really, you really have to meet with each family individually and really learn what their specific needs are and their goals, and then you help guide them to achieve those goals. With independent living, it's generally for those that may still be driving, possibly not working any longer outside of the home, but they still can cook for themselves, they can clean for themselves, but maybe they just want a smaller place to manage, or they can no longer do a lot of the home maintenance, such as the yard care, pool care, and things like that. Yeah. Those people really do well in independent living. And then assisted living is where they would need the meal preparation and, eating in a dining room. They can no longer comfortably prepare their meals. Or as they need more care, we can provide an assisted living medication management and ordering and packaging and distributing medications, or bathing assistance, grooming assistance. And then really that final step for what we call memory care, those are for, it's designed for people that really do need all day oversight, all day and all night oversight from care staff, making sure that they're safe, that they've eaten, they're clean, but still providing daily activities and engaging programs for them to feel, still connected to social life.
And I think this is very important that you are bringing these different types of facilities, or even in one's facility, different sections, because the people who are more independent in terms of doing their things, they may not be interested in going to an assisted living in that sense, that where we like to sort of have the company of people who are
more like us
and in the similar phase in terms of activities, what they do. So that's really important, But then my next question is, how does one find out what type of community will work best for them?
Wow. You really have to accept it. Okay. You have to accept that, you look at yourself in the mirror and say, look, I am not doing well at home anymore in this big house, and I am feeling a little isolated. And oftentimes, it's the adult children that will kind of push mom or dad or their loved one to say, hey, let's talk about this and let's look around because this is no longer working. So once all parties accept that we need to make a change, my advice would be you have to go out and look at each one, because every community has its own heart and soul, and you have to get to know the staff and visit multiple times. It may take 3 or 4 different visits to really determine what community and what product, I call it, is best for you. Is it independent living? Is it, light assisted living? You want to go to the community, maybe even stay a night there if they'll allow you in a furnished apartment to experience what you're going to be, what your living is like every single day. So that would be my recommendation, is you have to really do your research. Look at the reputation. Meet the care staff. Meet the administrator. Meet the chef.
And are there typically some contracts and all that make them? What happens if they go, they feel it's the right place, and then they feel they're not having a good time or whatever? In that case, how easy it is or difficult for them to make changes?
That's a great question, and I tell you, we are, in my line of work, in assisted living, we hold a license from the state of California. It's called a residential care facility for the elderly license, and the state grants us that license in order to operate in California and to be able to provide all of the services that we do. And with that comes the rental agreement. And it's all rental, AJ.
Okay.
So, and now there are certain communities that do require what you call a buy-in or an upfront fee, and that's a little bit different business model.
Okay.
But with assisted living and our CFE, it's all rental. So if you move in and say you live there for 6 months and then you determine, wow, I don't like the location, or I need a bigger apartment, or you know what, I don't like the staff. You know, I'm having issues with the staff, which could happen. You simply have to provide a 30-day notice, and then you can move out and on your way to somewhere else. So it's very simple. And you know, another thing that's important to note: if you are fortunate enough to have a home and you don't need to sell your home right off the bat, I would recommend highly keeping your home, maybe renting it to a family member or somebody for a couple of months while you try it out, because you do, in that regard, you can go back home if you find that it's not a fit for you in assisted living.
Yeah, it's essentially keeping your options open.
Yeah, there's no obligation. Right? We want people to be happy.
Yeah. That's a very good point. And it's also depend on the personality. There are people who will really be better off in an assisted living because they like company. They want to have more sort of communication and they want to have friends. And if you are in a community, you have a chance to make so many friends. So that's really awesome. On the other hand, a person may be like more like introvert type of a person and may have certain preferences. And if that person is in a position physically to sort of manage a decent amount of work at home, then that person may not be ready immediately. Maybe down the line that person will feel, I need to move. So I guess, as you said in the beginning, I mean, every situation is like every family needs to look into it and see.
And something, you know, I will say this, something that is I want folks to look out for when they're searching for a new place is just what you touched on. You know, we have this was the best generation we're serving, right? You know, some of the smartest people that worked in the technology industry or you know, they were titans of industry and leaders in healthcare and, you know, they built this country. So they want to be around other intelligent people. They want smart conversations. They are active politically. They want to give back in their community. And so one thing to really look for when you're looking at a community is ask, you know, what are the programs you have here? We don't, you know, we're not children. We are distinguished, accomplished adults. And yes, you know, I may be 85 or 95, but I still want to talk about current events and I want to give back. So I know certain assisted livings, certainly mine, will have specialized programming to allow people to still utilize their brain and still go out in the community and give back, whether it's a nonprofit organization or giving back to the parks system or contributing some way, because at every stage of life, we can still contribute.
Yeah, you're so right in the sense that also if we are active, we are not only contributing, even physically and mentally being active results in better health for the individual.
That's right.
So if I'm kind of done and I'm just sitting on my chair or I'm doing nothing, then chances are my health will deteriorate. On the other hand, if I'm active physically and mentally, then chances are that I'll lead a better life.
It's engagement.
Yeah.
It's about engagement. And there's nothing worse than going to somebody's home. And I've had the pleasure, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to visit many families in their current environment. And, you know, it's so telling because you walk in and you say, well, you know, Mr. Jones, what did you do today? And what did your past week look like? And all they've done is sit in front of a television.
Yeah.
That is just not living.
Right.
We want people to engage, go on a scenic drive, take a walk through a museum, have a children's choir come in and entertain. You know, there are literally a million possibilities, and connect with your peers. Something that's very unique is I have had families that lost touch with other friends through the years, and then they happen to move into a property and they meet people that their kids used to, play baseball with their kids 40 years ago, and they reconnect. So it's really rewarding to see that.
Wes, you're slightly ahead of me because that was kind of my next question in a way that I was about to ask.
My brain is bouncing around here, AJ.
No, that's good, really good. You're giving some very good information, because my next question actually was that when a person moves from a home to a community, what are some of the good things you notice that people feel? So you already touched upon some of those things, but anything that you want to mention?
One primary thing that we see a lot is nutrition. And so by us having a very robust dining program and having nutritionally balanced meals prepared by a culinary department and specifically an executive chef, people feel better about what they're eating. And they're eating cleaner oftentimes, and it's more regular. So that we see a lot of folks that have lost weight maybe at home or have gained too much weight from eating over processed junk food. So we try to, we bring people back into balance that way with the meals. But specifically with in life engagement, we see people feeling better, more energized, and it's giving, the daily events that we do in assisted living, whether it is on site through our programs and activity department, or if it's out us doing a field trip, our residents have something to look forward to.
Okay.
And they have something to, even mealtime, they look forward to the conversation and meeting new people. And that is very, very important, because when you're home alone, there's not much to look forward to. And let's face it, families are so busy, right? We're so fragmented.
Right.
So, adult child is working full time and maybe they have kids at home. So they're not able to visit every 3 or 4 days or even once a week to see how their mom or dad are doing. We are. So they instantly feel better just about humans being around.
Excellent. Very good. So let me flip the question now. That are there certain things that people feel it's not as good? I'm not even trying to say anything negative, but more in the sense that my question is that are there certain challenges that they face in the initial phase when they move from their home to a facility?
I think we're all unique, and I think personality challenges are the biggest thing. Most times people are very pleased with their apartment, in their apartment suite. They like the fact that it's a little less to manage. They like, that maybe you've purchased new things, and so you're enjoying that. But I think really in the beginning, the first few months are critical. Because I've seen it many times where residents and staff simply don't get along, and there's a learning curve. And that's a hard thing, because we want everybody to kind of coexist and get along when caregiving is taking place, when duties are being, completed. So I urge any new resident to speak up, because the administration and the leadership of the community can't be everywhere at all times. And so if a resident is really struggling with a caregiver maybe not doing things the way they want them done, they need the resident, we encourage to respectfully report that to the leadership team and say, look, I'm not used to this, or I didn't like the tone that Tammy Sue had with me when she was delivering my medication, or the server was a little too short with me when he needs to speak up, or whatever it may be. We want our residents, this is their home, so we want them to let us help them overcome those challenges and those barriers.
Very good. And moving on, in the interest of time, I know you are extremely excited about the new community, Elegance. Your team is building in Dublin. So what are some of the best things you want to highlight about Elegance? And among various options that are there out in the market, why do you think people should pick Elegance?
A loaded question, AJ.
Yeah.
I am thrilled about this new project in this community. It's certainly brand new, so everything is clean and fresh, and it smells good, and nobody's lived there before, so that always feels good. But above the physical plant, it is about the caregiving, and it's about the environment and the heart and soul of the building. And my commitment as the executive director of the community is to really employ the best of the best and then train them and retain them. So I'm fortunate that our company does have very in-depth training processes for caregivers and dining room servers and activities professionals. We have signature programs that we're going to be able to provide to the residents, and that's what sets us apart from the competition. There are beautiful communities all throughout the Bay Area,
right.
and there's really truly a fit for everybody. But that's what I'm eager to present is well-trained staff in a beautiful environment, and to let the residents decide how we want to give back in the community. They're really still living, so it's fun. It's going to be fun.
And it's opening this year?
It is. It's opening about 4 months.
Okay.
And we are in the heart of Dublin, California. We are right across from the Senior Center, right in what they'd consider downtown Dublin. We have great freeway access with the 580 and 680 just really about a quarter mile away. Also, it's very walkable. So if you are still very active and you want to walk to little boutique stores and a coffee shop and shopping, you just walk right out of the community, and it's all very flat surface, and you can get anywhere you need to go. And BART is close too for our staff members maybe living in other regions or family members wanting to come visit their loved one. They can just jump on the train.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to the opening because it will be another great option for people in the area to find a great home.
We're thrilled about it, AJ.
Excellent. This is really useful. You provided good information for our listeners. So before we wrap up, are there any final thoughts, suggestions that you want to make for our listeners, whether it's related to, how to pick a community, or when, you're going through this discussion phase of moving to a community? Any guidance from your side?
The guidance here would be, again, really do your homework, check the reputation, meet not only with the leasing and sales and marketing staff, but meet with the nurse, meet with the executive director, try a meal, really visit several times before diving in and making that move, because visit at night, come after hours and be respectful to the community, get permission, especially now in these times. However, visit at those times to see how the community operates, because this is where your mom or dad or yourself is going to be calling home for the next few years. So you really want to just do your homework and ask about cost. Certainly make sure the facility really gives you a breakdown of what care looks like and what make sure they're thorough in, hey, your care needs may go up in the future. So really see what that would look like.
Got it. This is excellent. This is, I think, very, very helpful. So I want to thank you for
AJ,
providing this information.
I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. So listeners, thank you for joining us today on Aging by the Bay. This show was brought to you by ComForCare and A Love for Seniors. This weekly show provides information that helps our seniors age better. Please visit our sponsor's website, aloveforseniors.com. You can contact them directly at 1-800-850-9102. We hope that you enjoyed the show, and please subscribe to our podcast that is available at iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. You can find the show and also previous shows at our website, agingbythebay.com. We love your feedback, and so please leave your comments. If you have any question for our featured guests or want to become a featured guest, please contact us by sending an email at info@agingbythebay.com. Again, a big thank you to our sponsors, A Love for Seniors, and to ComForCare Home Care. This has been an Aging by the Bay show. We will be back next Saturday, same time. Until then, take care, be safe, and have a nice week.
This has been Aging by the Bay with Ajay Sani, addressing issues on aging and services for the elderly community. Join us again next week for Aging by the Bay.